Could people actually live on a giant floating raft? Well, imagine this. You wake up one morning, stretch, yawn, and the floor beneath your feet wobbles. Not because of an earthquake, but because your entire world is floating in the middle of the ocean, a colossal raft the size of a small country. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, but would that actually work? Stick with me till the end, because the answer might surprise you. And it might involve a very soggy stickman. First, let's break down the basics. A raft that big, let's call it Raftopia, would need to float using buoyancy, the same force that keeps a rubber duck on bathwater and your sad, forgotten sandwich afloat in a pool. But while a rubber duck weighs like nothing, humans, buildings, and entire snack aisles from Costco weigh a lot. Our raft would need huge layers of durable, buoyant material. Maybe wood, maybe recycled plastic, maybe empty soda bottles tied together with hope. In other words, engineering wizardry. Okay, great. It floats. But what about food? Let's say a stickman farms his own bananas on Raftopia. He proudly harvests the first bunch, only for the raft to tilt on one side and send him sliding into the ocean like a banana-powered water slide. Yep, farming becomes a little complicated when your entire farmland is also a giant surfboard. And don't get me started on toilets. Where do you flush when the entire world is just water? Stickman solves this by building a tiny outhouse that promptly tips over the second he steps inside. Turns out, even toilets need stability. Who knew? But here's the thing. Technically, we could survive like this for a while. There are real-life examples of communities living on floating houses and islands. People in Cambodia, Peru, and even the Netherlands have made it work with clever architecture, water filtration, and those little rope things you don't want to let go of when you're drunk. The real challenge? Weather. Imagine being peacefully asleep, then whoosh. A wild storm slaps the entire raft like it owes the ocean money. Stickman flies through the air, his toothbrush follows, and his pet fish yells, "We're doomed," in fish language. Waves get bigger, the raft creaks, and our brave civilization realizes that Mother Nature doesn't care if you're on land or floating on a giant plank. But humans are stubborn. We'd build anchor systems, weather barriers, maybe even mini forests to balance carbon emissions. Kids would grow up knowing how to swim before they knew how to walk. Tourists would pay extra for ocean-facing rooms, even though every room faces the ocean. And our stickman, he'd finally learn to build a proper bathroom that doesn't capsize on use. So, could we live on a giant floating raft? Yes. Would it be convenient? Not at all. The ocean is beautiful, powerful, and very good at reminding us that even the biggest raft is just a speck on its surface. And maybe that's the lesson. We don't always need solid ground to build a life, but we do need balance, creativity, and maybe a really good life jacket. Because at the end of the day, whether you're floating on wood or walking on concrete, you'll still have to deal with falling bananas, leaky roofs, and crabby, literally, neighbors. And if that's not the perfect metaphor for life, I don't know what is.